Welcome to Auto Talks Energy, Episode 3, the electrical industry. This is an awesome topic because the electrical industry is very complicated. You've got the engineering and you've got the financing. And the two things by themselves are very complicated. So let's start about the engineering. Electricity it's commodity, but it's not like normal commodity because you can't really store it. So whenever we use electricity, say my lamp running right now, there's got to be a place that's producing power to supply electricity for that lamp in real time. It's not as if we have enormous electric storage that can save up a bunch and then use it when the lamp's operating. So you got to have a generation equal to the demand about all the time. And unfortunately, you can't have like your own personal power plant wherever you are. And you don't typically want those big power plants right next to your house. So you have large power plants some distance away from those areas, and they've got to get to your place some distance. In order for it to efficiently be moved from the generation facility to your house, it's got to go through transmission lines. So already you've got to have generation, transmission, distribution, and retail lines. And all of these are engineering challenges to get electricity from the power plant here so it can power my lamp or my computer or my camera. Then you get the whole financial side, which is at least as complicated. Here in the US, we've got basically two treatments of utilities. One, we got the regulated utilities. That's sort of like the Southeast US, where a single utility services an enormous population of people. There are no competitors. The state or that particular region has agreed that this company will provide for electric needs for all customers and they will have no competitors. However, the amount of profit they can earn is regulated. They have to negotiate a rate of return, and so their expenses have to be approved, and every time they want to increase prices, they have to make an argument that it's justified, that it's prudent. So on the unregulated side, it's not really unregulated in the sense that generation, transmission, distribution, retail are all unregulated. Really, they're just talking about generation. So it means that there's a bunch of different generating facilities. They can be owned by all different parties. Then there's a single kind of balancing authority that decides, okay, this is a Wednesday night, we're going to need this much power. Every power plant bids, say, I will produce power at this price. Then based on this scale of who's producing power at what price, the balancing authority will decide, okay, I need whatever it is, 10 gigawatts. I'll go to 10 gigawatts, all right, so the clearing price will be, $40 per megawatt hour, whatever it is. And then everyone who had bid at that price or lower gets paid that particular price. If you bid lower, great. If you bid higher, you're out of luck. You're not going to be producing power then. So there's a plus in that there's a competitive aspect for generation. There's a minus because there's less control and there's excess generation. And they're also not controlling how that generation is produced. So it could be a super polluting coal power plant. It could be perhaps some of that power is being produced in areas that really don't need the demand. So it gets a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit less deliberate than the regulated side. Each side has pluses and minuses. So that's a pretty short synopsis, the engineering perspective. Again, the four big parts of the electrical power industry: generation, transmission, distribution, and retail. Those are all big components. On the financing side, the regulated portion is rate-making process by which the utilities, sometimes vertically integrated, meaning that they do all parts of the process, the generation, transmission, distribution, retail, that they negotiate a rate of return, and as long as they expense prudently, they'll get a rate of return on their investments. On the deregulated side, they've got to make a bid for generation, and as long as the clearing price is at that price or lower, then they'll be generating for that market. And the markets can be real time, day ahead, or I think there's maybe a week ahead. Anyhow, for the different time periods. So that's a quick overview. We're going to pick it up again Next week, we're going to cover generation and take a closer look at the different kinds of power plants and pros and cons. See you then.